I'm Strikadelic, but you can call me Ludo. Welcome to my hyperfixation diary. So first of all, J.K. Rowling can choke, but I thrifted this very pink sweater over this past weekend, so I've decided to reclaim Dolores Umbridge's aesthetic for the trans community. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or if we are not yet acquainted, go ahead, take off your coat, sit down, stay a while. You want a drink? My name is Ludo, and I run this channel, Strikadelic, where I talk usually about like 50-50 makeup and fragrance, and then I throw a little bit of lifestyle in there every so often. I was scheduled to put up a fragrance video today instead of a makeup video. This is going to be a makeup video. I just really wanted to get these thoughts out. So today's video is going to act as a little bit of an intro to some videos that I'm going to be posting later on in the month, which are going to be collection and declutter videos for my makeup. I'm still not sure if I'm going to make those declutter videos into one long video or have them be separated by category and uploaded separately. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that or preferences. But I wanted to post this video separate to all of those because I know a lot of people like to rewatch declutter videos, and I don't want them to have to like skip past an intro they've heard a million times to get to the actual part of the video that they want to watch. The main reason I wanted to do some start of the year collection and declutter videos at all is because this channel is pretty new. I mean, it's been around for a while, but I've only started posting regularly recently, and a lot of y'all are very new to the channel. So I feel like this is a good opportunity to show you what I have laying around, just so we're all on the same page. This way I can point out my favorite products, maybe some stuff that I used to use a lot but don't necessarily anymore. You'll know what I like and what I've tried, etc. So all that content will be coming later, and I just wanted to let you know in advance that if you're somebody who enjoys watching declutters where somebody greatly reduces the size of their collection, like by half or something, my declutter might not end up being your absolute favorite. And that's okay. Not everything can be for everybody. I also do post empties videos if you feel like that's something you would enjoy more. I can link a couple down in the description. As I mentioned though, this video stands on its own because I do have some thoughts that I want to discuss about the act and performance and like perception of decluttering makeup, particularly on social media as a whole. If you're not into that concept, you know, it's a little too cerebral, a little too meta, totally fine. You don't have to watch this video. No pressure. You don't even have to watch the declutters when I post them either, honestly. There is like no way I can make you do anything. Do what you want to do. But if you are interested in hearing my viewpoint on things like conscious consumerism, the public perception of beauty waste, and how my neurodivergence and financial class play into the size of my makeup collection, I would really appreciate if you would stick around for the rest of this video. Let's get meta. I'll be looking down at my notes throughout this. If that gets annoying, I don't know, just click to another tab and have me on in the background. I wanted to start by stating that I am not going to be attaching any sort of moral score to my collection, its size, or even its usefulness. If you clicked on this video, it is reasonable to assume that you have watched some declutters. You might enjoy watching declutters. I too enjoy watching declutters and collection tours, and I've been watching them since I first got into makeup. That's about 9 years. I have watched lots of declutters, and those videos tend to be pretty lengthy, so I also tend to rewatch them a lot. Like I'll put them on in the background while I'm doing something else. They're a really good comfort video. I also consume a lot of project pan and declutter content on Instagram. Always have. And in seeing that and reading the comment sections of that content, talking to other creators and other consumers about it, I realize I have internalized a lot of feelings about the acquisition, collection, ownership, and consequent decluttering of a stash of perishable, consumable goods that is widely considered to be a luxury item, makeup. Before declutters, there were mainly just collection videos on YouTube, like makeup collection videos by beauty gurus, and a lot of those creators were very self-aware that that was like a type of aspirational content, and they would start it with a big disclaimer saying like, this is my job, I get a lot of this in PR, I donate unused product to charity and friends and family, all true things. So I find it interesting that subscribers, watchers would then go and complain about even the disclaimer. Because those same commenters who would say, I hate when beauty gurus spend the first 5 minutes of the video with this big disclaimer, would then also leave a comment about how the beauty guru was failing morally by the commenter's arbitrary standards for the size of their collection. It could be argued that what I'm doing right now is just justifying why I own so much makeup so that people don't come for me in the comments. I'm essentially giving a disclaimer at this very second. It's fundamentally an act of trying to avoid being misunderstood or taken the wrong way. Deep down though, I don't feel like that's what I'm doing. I'm going to give you context for the size and contents of my makeup collection because that's something I find interesting to delve into. And so I'll give context and you can meet me where I am. But there are always going to be people who will not budge and say that to be understood and to be a good person, you have to go and run and meet them where they are. Sometimes that's because they look up to you or they care about you or they relate to you in some way, and therefore you need to meet their standards of moral righteousness in order to make themselves feel good and secure in the fact that they spent time supporting you and cheering you on. I've dealt with a lot of that in my life within the context of content creation and outside of that context. So it's just something I'm letting go of. I'm really not interested in doing that song and dance anymore. But me refusing to go change myself to meet other people's standards doesn't mean I'm abandoning my own standards. I am not abandoning conscious consumerism as a concept, and I'm still willing to examine my own collecting and spending habits according to my own standards. So my attitude towards decluttering is something that has really evolved over time. However, instead of going through like the whole 9-10 years of makeup ownership, I want to focus on dissecting a key point in my life that I feel changed things for me, and that is late 2017 to early 2018. A lot of things were happening at that time. Fenty Beauty was just about to launch. I was back in university after taking a year off to work, and I had just landed my first retail beauty job. And at that point in my life, makeup, particularly high-end makeup, which was harder to come across in my city until that store that I worked for opened, was very coveted and special to me. And for that makeup store I ended up working at, I was hired as seasonal, but I was also part of the store opening crew. So I worked there before it had even opened. We were unboxing things and getting the store ready to open. Honestly, I think unboxing a shipment of what had to be over $1 million worth of makeup, skincare, and fragrance in just under a week for the store opening really changed how I saw makeup, even if I didn't realize it yet. Particularly, we had to make testers of every item that was going to be sold, and it was just happening so fast. It was like shelling peanuts. Like, take it out of the box, put it on the shelf, move on to the next one. It started to peel back that veneer of mysticism that I had attached to the makeup industry a little bit. So I worked all through that holiday season. It was my first holiday in retail, and it was bonkers. But it was a lot of fun, and I was kept on as a regular employee past the holiday season. And then in February 2018, on my birthday, I came out as transgender publicly and to my family. And then following that, I was effectively homeless for a period of time while still having a job. So remember, not every wage is a living wage. So during that period of time, all of my stuff, including like my makeup collection, which obviously was the least of my worries at this point, was where it had always been. I just couldn't access it. And there's no collecting stuff when you're homeless, especially when you have things like school and work to get to and you don't have a car. You have to be very discerning about what you're going to carry around with you. And additionally, at my job, they would search your bag after every shift to, you know, make sure you hadn't stolen anything from the store and that you didn't have anything that you weren't allowed to have at work. I was trying not to let them in on the precarity of my situation so that they wouldn't like cut my hours. That was just a whole thing. Anyways, I ended up getting my stuff back and getting my first apartment in the spring, but the scarcity mindset had already taken hold. And especially having my first apartment and like having to buy things for that and basically starting from the ground up, I mean, I had a lot of help from my friends. I am super grateful for my friends. I wouldn't be here today if they hadn't helped me during that time. But it just became really hard to get rid of anything for a while. Not even just talking about my makeup collection. Like if it wasn't completely broken beyond repair or like causing me health issues, like in the case of like rotten food and stuff, I didn't want to get rid of it. Even things that I didn't enjoy, I was having a tough time getting rid of. And makeup is something I do enjoy. My makeup desk was my happy place. I was creating makeup content on Instagram as my main hobby at that point, and I was doing like fun looks for work. We would do challenges and stuff like that. And work would also give us free product gratis. And at my store, they really made you feel like you had to earn it. Like you had to work at 130% capacity in order to get a chance at being given the free products. So when they gave me something, I was not going to get rid of it, even if I didn't like it. I was like, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this moisturizer. It breaks me out and I can't get rid of it because then I worked for nothing. So that's a lot of context of like complicated feelings from my past, but let's leave that for now and talk about how I view my collection in this moment. And then we can touch back on where maybe some of those feelings come from. Right now, as it stands, I think of my makeup collection as art supplies, primarily. I am someone who doesn't wear makeup if I don't feel like it. I'm usually doing my makeup so I can take pictures and post them, or so I can get a feel for a certain product in order to review it. That fact, combined with the scarcity mindset from before, is something that can make decluttering very difficult for me up to this point, because I have this nagging voice in the back of my head as I go to get rid of something saying, what if you need this later and you don't have it? I'm not usually, and certainly not currently, in a financial place to be able to repurchase products whenever I want. So I use my favorite powder every single day, and then I keep a handful of half-used powders that I don't like as much just in case I run out of my favorite. And then when you get to color cosmetics, it's less utilitarian and even more difficult because there's hardly a color under the sun that I won't wear or haven't worn at some point and liked on myself. So if I like it, I don't want to get rid of it. Makeup gives me a lot of dopamine. It's one of my special interests as a person with autism and ADHD. To be frank, the world is a very cruel place and it makes me quite sad a lot of the time. But having a lot of different makeup to play with whenever I want makes me happy. It's what I spend the majority of my free time thinking about. And this is where we get back to those commenters again, because I hear them say in the back of my head, as I am looking at my collection, somebody else could use that more. You are being selfish and wasteful. After working in beauty retail, my concept of waste in the beauty industry has largely changed. It's a very wasteful industry. I wasn't even seeing the production stage of things, but between shelving updates, new product testers, throwing out extra testers, throwing out products that had been returned, and the amount of free product that was being given to employees, I just can't get myself to stress about that kind of thing anymore. The mental gymnastics are just too much. Especially when it comes to makeup that I purchased myself, which for the past 2 years has been pretty much all of it. And it's something that can't be passed on in a super like sanitary or hygienic way. Like you're saying I own too much concealer? Too much lip gloss? You know that if I hadn't bought it, the next person who wanted to would still have to pay $20 for it at the store, right? We're not even going to get into markups and how I think that the concept of money is stupid as a whole. But in terms of decluttering itself, I have realized a few things. I generally prefer to declutter slowly. I will use a product for the first time in a bit, realize that I don't like it as much as I used to, or that a loved one might like it more, and then I declutter it. Instead of it being this mass like culling of my makeup collection, it's more this fun thing of me like picking out a few items to gift to somebody that I care about. Another thing is that none of the charities or foundations in my city accept makeup that is opened. It needs to be sealed and unused, which I totally get. But if I'm buying a makeup product, I'm going to try it and I'm going to get my face germs on it. So from now on, I'm going to try to not declutter products unless I have a sure place for them to go, whether that's the bin if they're expired, or to a loved one who I think would like it, or, you know, enjoy trying it if it's still safe to use. Because I used to just declutter into this shoebox that I would keep by my desk, and I realized that letting the products rot in a shoebox by my desk was a little bit worse than them just going bad in my collection, but maybe getting 1 or 2 more uses from me. That's why in the future as well, I'm going to focus less on decluttering and more on being mindful about what I choose to bring into my collection in the first place. And by the way, I actually do choose to keep some makeup products that are expired, knowing that I'm like not going to use them because they hold sentimental value to me. I'm going to be talking about a couple of those in the declutter video. And sometimes for like cheek products and stuff, I will still put them on for old time's sake. It's my face. You don't get hurt if I'm breaking out on my cheekbones. Something I'm grateful for is that even though my makeup tastes change and evolve, I have now been owning and wearing makeup for over a decade, and I now know myself well enough that I'm pretty confident in knowing when it's time to let something go or whether I'll want to come back to it in a few months. And I think that's all I really needed to say. I'm sure that I'm going to think of more later that I could have said, but I'll just make peace with that fact now. I basically just wanted to state my thesis going forward into whatever declutter I'm going to post. And we'll see how they actually end up playing out at the end because I haven't filmed them yet. But I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye! There's more where that came from, so go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of whatever the heck that was.